How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. If you've never joined us for a Mentor Monday, please jump inside the chat right now. Tell us where you're joining us from, what you're excited about, what you feel life and momentum on. Also, preemptively, I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to ask you to like this post. You can take your like back later. The coaches who are around on Mondays, and some of you who are watching right now, go ahead and like it because you know that you can. Um, you'll notice after you're with us for a couple of weeks that we actually do something really strange, which does not always happen online. When we say that we're going to do something, we actually do it. So we have a four-word mission statement at Life Coach Training Institute. It is proficient coaches, thriving practices. Everything that we do is unto one of those outcomes. And some weeks we're just focused on coaching skills, some of the stuck places, the difficult things, some of the challenges that coaches might have. And we want to refine your skills so you can be the best coach that you can be. And then other weeks that we come in, I'll do a series and it'll be focused on how do you get clients and some of those challenges with marketing and some of those other things. So we're starting a new series tonight, and this series is all on coaching skills again, and this is called Coaching Through the Fog. And what my hope is tonight is to actually introduce you to this series, talking about the different fog states and specifically why they matter. And what we'd love for you to do is to continue to engage inside of the chat. Also, again, like this post, share it. It tells Facebook and YouTube that we are doing a good job. So let's talk about this week. First off, before we jump in, I should remind you we have all of these slides, these beautiful slides that we make. We're going to have them available for you. All you need to do is text the word slides to 833-258-7547. Again, text the word slides, no other words, just text the word slides to 833-258-7547. That way, you'll get these beautiful slides. And not only will you get the slides that give you all the bullet points for all of this time, you are also going to get the coaching tools that we place inside the slides so that you can use them with your clients or that you can use them on yourself as far as that's concerned, because you might find sometimes you find as you are working through these things that we have some of our own struggles and challenges, and we can get breakthrough and we can get clarity and help there. Also, you'll want these slides because this isn't information that is probably readily available or widely available. So I'd love for you to have the slides. That way, you've got the definitions of everything. That way, as you utilize the tools that we give you with your clients, you'll be able to refer back to them. That way, you're not trying to keep everything up here, and it'll also keep you from having to take notes. Again, text the word slides to 833-258-7547. All right. So, what is fog, though? Well, let's give us a working definition to start. Fog is a state of internal cloudiness where direction, energy, or emotion feels muted or unclear. It's not the absence of desire, it's the inability to move forward with clarity. In fog, clients may feel disconnected from their motivation. They might struggle to make decisions, or they might sense that something is shifting without knowing what or why. And fog often shows up when a client's in transition, or it can also show up after burnout, where they've kind of been in it. They've been in prolonged survival mode. And if left unrecognized, it gets mislabeled as a mindset issue. And I don't want you making mistakes here. If you see something incorrectly as a coach, if your judgment is off, you might actually steer the client in the wrong direction. One of the things that I always say in our life coach certification course in our boot camp weekend is I always say your awareness as a coach determines where the session goes and how you ultimately coach a client. So if your awareness is off in this thing, if you may not have even known that fog was a thing, and I think that's probably true for most coaches. If you're not aware of this, You might mislabel it, you might misunderstand it, and that's going to cause you to make some mistakes. And so, what we're going to do is that we're going to uncover these different types of fog, the 4 states, and we're also going to show you how to coach it properly and not make mistakes as you go along the way. But why does this matter? Well, if you coach fog like it's resistance, then you're going to break trust with your client. If you coach fog like it's laziness, what you'll ultimately do is you will break momentum for the client. But if you coach fog like it's a signal, because this is what it truly is, something deeper is just asking to be seen. So you become the coach who helps them rebuild, not just simply restart. And let me say this for the sake of all the coaches who are wired like me. You want results, you want breakthrough, you want to help them get unstuck, all of those other things, drive them, push, all of those other kinds of things. I respect that. I was always that kind of coach. I'm still wired exactly the same way. But I've learned some things over the years. And there are certain coach demeanors where coaches that are particularly wired to be very empathetic and compassionate and everything else, this is something that they're going to pick up on probably a little bit faster sometimes than some of us who are so urgent and want to see breakthrough and want to see change and all of those other kinds of things. So sometimes what that means for us that are really, really urgent, we need to slow down just a bit, pay attention to what's going on. And what I'm hoping is that this series will do 2 things. Not only is it going to equip everybody so that you can become a better coach, but for some of us who are really urgent, you're impatient for the change for their client, for your client, you want to see breakthrough and everything else. I understand, but there's a lot more going on. Remember what I always tell our coaches. I'm not just trying to get them to achieve a goal and not get the internal change that was supposed to happen along the way, because what happens is if that shift doesn't happen, then when the coaching relationship is over with, then the accountability was the only thing that was helping them achieve the goal. And you can help people through accountability get results, but it doesn't mean that it actually changes the person. School should have taught us that. Some people like me weren't that really that good of students. We made good grades most of the time, but it wasn't because we were good students and we were studying all the time or anything else. We just always had deadlines and we had something looming like a bad grade or something like that, or you're not going to be able to play a sport or whatever. And so what it made us do is it made us get really urgent in the couple of days before it was due. But then after it was over with, then we slumped back down. We went back to this. We didn't learn our lesson. We still have bad habits and all of those other things. That's what I hope for everybody to understand. Sometimes in our drive to help people get unstuck and to get a result, we'll achieve that result while at the same time not getting change. So this is one of those cautions, and hopefully this can be one of those really big helps. Now there are 4 fog states. And it's really important for us to understand what these different fog states are, that what they are in terms of the definition, and we'll unpack them a little bit more. But then not only the what is the state, but what is the core emotion that is behind that state, and what is the common mistake that coaches are making as they are coaching people in these things. And this first fog state is mental fog. And when it comes to mental fog, what the core emotion is for the client to feel overwhelmed. Now, where coaches often make a mistake is that they want to get all strategic. Maybe you need a better strategy. Maybe I can offer a strategy and a better structure to help you, but that's not really what the problem is. Matter of fact, they're already experiencing overwhelm. It could actually add to the overwhelm and that they're experiencing. That second fog state that clients are experiencing and that we've got to become aware of is emotional fog. And it's interesting because with mental fog, a client actually feels overwhelmed. When it comes to emotional fog, the client's actually going to verbalize something a little bit different. They're going to really talk about themselves feeling numb. So it's an it's an emotional fog state, but actually what's in them is seems a little bit more apathetic and disconnected and disassociated with it. The common mistake for that is all of you coaches who like to be all positive. I want you to think about this. If somebody is actually in the emotional fog state, it's kind of like when you have a teenager and they're annoyed and someone's trying to make and a parent is trying to make them laugh and trying to make them happy and trying to be positive and all this and and what's funny is that they're so uncomfortable with their child being in this state that they can't give them silence, which is actually what that teenager needs. They need a little bit of distance. They need something else. They need really the opposite of what the parent is giving them. And so pushing positivity is not going to make someone break out of their apathetic state. And they might actually find that you're a little bit obnoxious, quite frankly. Now, transition's its own fog state itself. Transition has a core emotion of uncertainty. And the common mistake that coaches make here is really trying to force clarity for the client. Now, fog state number 4 is burnout. That is exactly what it sounds like. It is exhaustion. And when someone is exhausted, really what a coach should not be doing is trying to pile things on top of their exhaustions. Probably not a time to really be focused on setting goals. Not that you're not trying to achieve goals, but that's not the tool that we want to employ to help them. Now, those are the 4 fog states. Let's do a little bit deeper dive on each one of them. First of all, we talked about mental fog. Mental fog is information overload. It's chronic decision making. It's overthinking. An example of this is your client shows up with a packed brain. They've got tabs open in their mind at all times. Decisions they haven't made. Details they're trying to remember. Thoughts they can't turn off. They say things like, I just need a minute to think, but the thinking never stops. They're overloaded. They're not unmotivated. This is what actually creates overwhelm. You notice how, even as I'm reading that, it created a little bit of overwhelm. That's what your clients feel when they're in this fog. Number 2 is emotional fog. And as I said before, it is the opposite of feeling like anxiety and all of these other things. Actually, someone who's in emotional fog has the experience of numbness. They come off flat. The client comes off emotionally checked out. The client isn't sad or angry, they just feel flat. They're going through the motions and nothing lights them up. You ask them what they're excited about, and they say, honestly, I'm not sure. It's not depression, it's simply detachment. The system has numbed out. And as I said before, we don't want to go into positivity mode thinking that we can fix this. Number 3 is transition fog. A person who is in transition fog is directionless. They are unanchored. They're waiting for the next thing, but without clarity. They're not where they were, but they're not where they're going either. Something is ended. Often you'll see this when a client's role has changed. They have changed a job, they've come out of a life phase. It could be an empty nester, it could be any number of things. But the new season hasn't fully taken shape and it feels disorienting. They can't plan because they don't know what they're planning for. They're in the in between. And fog number 4 is burnout fog. Everything feels like too much. Even rest feels like too much. Even small tasks feel enormous. They've lost their drive, not because they've lost their why, but because their capacity is gone. They say things like, I'm tired and resting doesn't help. They have exceeded their capacity. They have no bandwidth left. You could have you could hand them a perfect step-by-step plan. They still would not move. This is why you don't want to make the coaching mistake of trying to get them in goal setting mode Their system needs recovery. They don't need direction. Now, of all of these, what do they actually sound like? If I could give you examples of what each one of these fog states sounds like, this is what they would sound like. And again, what I always say about clients is that they'll often verbalize what they perceive the problem to be. So if you hear a client say something like, I just keep circling the same to do list, this is what we would say is an example of mental fog, what someone with mental fog might say. Overwhelm, right? I don't care about anything right now, even the stuff I usually love. This is emotional fog. How do we know? Because what are they saying? They're talking about numbness. I'm not really feeling anything. I usually would feel like this, but I don't right now. Something's off, but I can't name what. This is transition fog. They're in the in between. They're not really sure and they lack clarity, right? Here's an example of burnout fog. A client with burnout fog might say, even thinking about a next step makes me tired. See, they're exhausted. Again, we don't make that mistake of putting them in goal setting mode with this. Your job as a coach is to listen for these cues and not take them at face value. They're not making excuses, they're simply symptoms of fog. As I've always tried to communicate, we want to give clients the benefit of the doubt, and we have to understand in the coaching relationship, we are the one relationship that they have where we're always believing the best and we're withholding judgment. Remember, in a coaching relationship, we want to see people get unstuck. We want to see transformation. We want to see people get breakthrough. We want to see them achieve goals. I understand that. I, as much as anybody else, love that. That's what we signed up for. But you know what else we signed up for? We signed up for them learning. As my coach mentor, Philip Sandall, used to always say, you want to push the action, but you always want to forward the learning. We always want to be asking, what are you learning? And see, this is a time for learning. It's a time to find out what's actually underneath. And as my coach mentor used to always say as well, he would always say stuff like, well, is the pole moving? Look at where the pole is moving. If I'm getting these kinds of things, it's indicating that there's something. Whenever you go fishing, you see the pole move, but the pole isn't moving up here. It's actually something beneath the surface. This is giving us a picture and it's showing us where to look under the surface, what's under the water, what's tugging, what's going on. So I'm going to give you a reflection tool. And again, this is a beginning tool. This is just helping them establish and get clarity on what kind of fog that they're in. It's going to really help them because they won't feel crazy anymore or anything else. So some real easy questions that you can ask your client. How would you describe the kind of stuck you're feeling right now? Let them unpack it. Let them talk to you about what they're feeling, what does it look like, and everything else. Now you've got some great definitions to go by. So as they are talking about it, you can align it with what you've learned in this. What's taking up the most space in your mind or your heart lately? What's making it hard to see the next step clearly? When you try to move forward, what seems to slow you down the most? And if you had to name what kind of fog you're in, mental, emotional, transition, or burnout, what feels the most true right now? And what you can do with this tool that we've given you, you can ask some of these questions, and then you can just read some of the definitions or actually have it in front of them. Say which one of these sounds the most like you right now. Again, non-judgmental, but we're finding out and we're helping the client go through a discovery because here's what I would say: no one wants to feel overwhelmed. No one wants to feel apathetic and not passionate about things and not numb or any of these other kinds of things. Nobody wants to walk around in their life and have a lack of clarity. So, in a non-judgmental way, we want to help them point at where they believe that they are, get clear about it, because now once you have clarity, we can unpack what we can do about it. That's what we'll be doing in the next few weeks in this particular series. Final thought though, this is the first step in learning how to coach in seasons that really aren't clear. Most breakthroughs, I want you to get this, most breakthroughs don't begin with answers. They begin when someone finally has the language to describe what they're in. And that's what fog needs. It needs language. That's what I've tried to provide for you here. That's what you're giving clients when you utilize this tool. Now, let's pay the bills. For those of you who have not gotten trained and certified yet, we've got a great accelerator program that's coming up on May 17th. We designed this program specifically for those of you who are like, I would love to do self paced, but I can't trust myself. I won't set deadlines. I'll never get things done. This is for you. Some of you who are like, I can't give an entire weekend away for training because I've got too much stuff going on. I understand. Most of our coaches are working full time. You got kids, you got a lot of different things that are going on. So what we have done between the self-paced course and the weekend boot camp, we covered those bases and we have for years now. This is a new program that we developed last year. And what one day Life Coach Certification Training Accelerator does is that we take all of the content from the Life Coach Certification course and boot camp. And what we did is we took all the fluff out of it, we cut all the fat, and we made a perfectly trim but robust training accelerator that allows you to knock all of your training out in a 12-hour day, starting at 7 a.m. Pacific or 9 a.m. Central or 11 a.m. Eastern. And this is what we actually include in this particular week. The cost is only $195, and your enrollment includes the full 12-hour Saturday training. What we do is when we start out each session, we start at 7 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time. And after that first session is over with, we give you a 15-minute break, and then we come back with the next session. And then another 15-minute break, and then another session so that you can knock all of your training out. This is a get her done kind of outcome that we are looking for the day. After you wrap all of your training up, all you got to do is turn in your assignments, take the exam, and you are done. So not only do you get the training, but you're also going to get everything that you need for your welcome kit to start your business. That means that we are giving you brandable, fully editable templates that include coaching agreements and all of your client welcome pack. You're also going to get a coaching tool starter kit, 6 tools to help your clients get breakthrough. We're going to give you hundreds of question samples. Obviously, you're going to earn your life coach certification and get a certificate, but you're also going to get access to bonus Tuesday night live coach training. You know, I understand that in a weekend like this, you might be like, oh man, I had more questions. That was a little bit too much or whatever. It's fine. If you need us, and what we would also encourage you to continue to connect with me on Tuesday nights, connect with other coaches who join us on Tuesday nights, so that you have people who are holding you accountable. You've got connection, you have support, and you're going to have questions as you go along. That's why we have Tuesday night coach training, so that if you ever get stuck, you don't have to feel stuck for very long. You just come on a Tuesday night, get your questions answered. That way you can keep moving. And so, what are we covering in terms of that day? It's 7 powerful sessions, foundations of coaching, the anatomy of a dynamic coaching session. You'll see what coaching looks like. And then I unpack it piece by piece, all the nuts and bolts. You're going to get how to help your clients get extraordinary results. It's all about goal setting and accountability. How to listen on a transformational level. We have 2 sessions on that. How to ask powerful questions, how to establish a growing coaching practice, and obviously all this includes live Tuesday night coach training, where I go through the sessions week by week, and that you also have opportunities to ask your questions. And we also have some weeks that are just completely practice weeks, so that you can practice coaching in that format where you're surrounded by your peers, not in a scary, threatening way, but in a supportive way, so that we can give you feedback and help you grow in your coaching proficiency. The cost is only $195, and this carries a $3,500 value. And so the link to enroll in this program is inside the description of this video. Also, for those of you who are looking for an advanced credential in spirit-led Christian coaching, we launched our Masters Academy last year. You do need a basic credential to enroll in this program unless you buy the bundle, and that way you get the life coach certification course as well as Masters Academy. We're starting on May 15th. There are only 14 spots left, so I would highly encourage you. These are going to fill up, and when they fill up, there's nothing that we can do about it. You'll have to wait till the next cohort, which will be like in mid-August. What's actually covered inside of Masters Academy? Well, you will be learning the IIPP transformational coaching model. It is unique to us because I designed the model. There's nothing like it in our industry. What we like to teach you is the basic foundations of coaching, and we're going to build upon this with a new model. It's a new way of operating, listening, structuring a session, and all of these other things. The coaches who have been through this program, and you can look at the reviews on our website, have phenomenal transformational experiences with their clients. And so we go through this training, we go through all the pillars of the model over the course of 6 weeks. You're also going to be a part of a Christian coaching community. So that means that you're going to have homework buddies, you're going to have people that you're partnering with, but you're going to really find friends for life inside of this community. You're obviously going to earn your advanced certified professional coach certification. And you're also going to walk away with all of the transformational coaching tools that you learn. So we're teaching you through the model. You'll continue to have access to the training. You can come back and audit in the future as long as there's room. And you're also going to get the tools. You're going to learn how to use the tools over the course of the weeks. And you'll also have those tools to continue to work with your clients. Again, there's about nearly 70 pages of transformational coaching tools that you get during that time. Again, the link to enroll in this program is inside of the description of this video. The cost of this program, if you already have a basic coaching credential, is only $395. If you don't have a basic coaching credential, go for the bundle. It's only $495. We knock $100 off for you. But get enrolled. Again, that link is inside the description of this video, and there's only 14 spots left. So I would encourage you to do that as quickly as possible. Listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. We're going to continue unpacking this series over the next couple of weeks and really giving you some more tools and showing you how to coach people specifically in each one of these key areas. Listen, I appreciate you so much. Have a great rest of your week and take care.